and then I ended up graduating when I was 18. And then that's when I moved down to the Bay Area to originally work at
So you skipped 4 years of school?
Yes.
What did you have, one of those tiger moms?
No.
You're laughing and smiling.
I know. Well, the funny thing is, that's how people normally interpret it.
Yeah.
My parents actually ended up being pretty lax. I mean, they wanted me to obviously be happy. And in fact, the funny thing is, my mom actually told me that she didn't want me to skip because she was worried about my health. Because, you go through a massive change in your social behavior could be affected, stuff like that. So I think I turned out okay.
Was you right?
I think I turned out okay. I think. But yeah, so I ended up graduating when I was 18.
Graduating college when you were 18?
College, yes.
So when did you go to college?
14.
You went to college at the age of 14 when most people are going to high school or in their sophomore year? What college did you go to?
I went to the University of British Columbia. So I was born and raised in Vancouver. I'm Canadian.
When you show up at the age of 14 and there's 18-year-olds in college, what is that like?
It's obviously intimidating because I'm still human.
Right.
But most of my life I was basically going to school with people older than me, right? So it wasn't that difficult of a transition. And what's funny is when you're younger, a lot of people do underestimate you because I do look like I'm 12, and I still do because I have facial hair. It's like it's good to be underestimated because once you do the thing you do and you kind of just be who you are, people are impressed, and it's a good thing.
So what was it, do you think, that led you to this road of skipping grades? You have siblings. Did they skip grades as well?
Yeah, so I have an older brother, 4 years older. So I always say that some things don't happen by accident. So it's not an accident that my brother happens to be precisely 4 years older than me, and then I skipped 4 grades. And the main reason is because when he was learning things, my mom would also loop me into the same lessons sometimes. So naturally I would learn ahead. And so, there's a reason why. My brother, he, as himself, he's a fantastic person. He actually now is working in fashion. He's working at a company called Herschel.
But did he skip grades?
No, he didn't.
So your mom just basically assumed you should be in the conversation with him.
Yeah, it just so happened that timing worked out too. So a lot of the programs that I did go through in school up in Vancouver really kind of only existed when I was going through. My brother didn't have that sort of privilege. And so I just got very lucky as well in many ways.
But did you apply yourself? I mean, to get if you're that much further ahead, you have to work at least twice as hard.
Yes, I was bored. That's the thing. So what happened was in school, I just felt that things were being repeated, and I could pick things up pretty quickly. And so I was like, rather than wasting my time, I'd rather just skip ahead and just get out of this thing as fast as possible.
Did you have some naturally high IQ or something? Like, did you get tested when you were a kid and they say, like, hey, this kid's a little man tape?
Yeah, so part of the requirements in the first 2 grades that I skipped was an IQ test. And so they did test me.
And what was it?
So my official IQ on record is 156.
That's interesting. Mine's 100. No, it's 156 IQ.
Yes.
Would that put you in percentile? No, it's when you were 8 years old.
Yeah, pretty much very young, yeah. So I think I may have gone down.
Percentile?
I was 99th percentile for a lot of things, yeah. So they measure you across multiple areas of academics and also cognitive ability, so.
What's that like to be so smart? Like, you're smarter than your parents or your brother.
I think it's more. I think it's
whatever IQ smart.
I think most of the intelligence piece comes with being able to adapt and pick up things very quickly and
figure out systems.
Figure out systems, and actually, I think as an entrepreneur, the funny thing is you kind of need to do that. You just gotta learn. You're really the good ones are the ones that just learn a few steps ahead. And they're fast enough to do it, and they look like they're just like on it all the time. But you just know that at the end of the day, it's because they were just that much more ahead that they were able to lead the process.
Like 3 months, 6 months ahead, you seem like a genius in our industry.
Exactly.
But you were 4 years ahead, so you truly are a genius.
Thank you. But
does that put a lot of pressure on you? Like, did you date girls in high school?
So yeah, the dating thing and also the drinking thing, right? So luckily in high school in Canada, when you're 19, that's the legal drinking age. So when I went into college, my brother happens to be 4 years older than me, happens to look a lot like me.
So you get the driver's license.
So that was good. But once I moved down here, it was obviously I got set back, right? So I was 19 here, and then the 21-year-old thing was not that.
So you didn't date any girls in high school?
No, I mean it was pretty tough because dating younger is really not a.
And you go to college at 14, and the 18-year-old girls have no interest in you.
I guess it was a good thing that I wasn't
distracted.
They thought I was cute, like in a baby cute type of thing.
Well, can you work that?
Yeah, you work it, you get the attention, and it's great.
But they're not going to sleep.
They're not there exactly. But the thing is, it was great because I didn't get that distraction, right? Like I think because I was able to focus and just be as productive as I could. What's funny is I think once you pass 20,
right,
it's just amazing, right? Because it's like once you pass 20, as long as you're within 20s.
Right,
you could be
it's one group.
Yeah, it's one group.
You're fine then.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's up to then, you're very frustrated.
Yes.
When did you first make out with a girl?
Oh, it was early on. I was 14.
So you're making out with college girls when you went to college? Is that what you're telling me?
There were older girls.
14?
Yes.
Wow, being a genius has its privileges. Wow. So right now, people are like, "That's a show, guys, the Howard Stern show." It is fascinating. Do you feel like you missed out on any part of youth?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of what people experience. Again, I didn't experience it myself, so I can't generalize. But I think everybody has their own path. Obviously, when people look at it from the outside, it is, did you miss out on your youth, da-da-da.
Yeah.
But the funny thing, I think this was my youth. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. I do not have any regrets. Every year that I went through was amazing. I had a lot of fun. I was able to be, and the funny thing is, when you put it in certain perspective, it's like 4 years ahead. One of my friends, and very good friend actually, wasn't trying to get me depressed, but they did say this just to frame it in the right mindset. They said, Brian, well, what if someone told you that you would just die 4 years earlier than anyone else? Then the 4-year jump, I know it's kind of depressing, but the 4-year jump doesn't really matter anymore if you think about it. But the thing is, I just looked at it as being able to have a start early because I just had this taste. I was like, I want to have that freedom. I just want to be out there. And I think
you wanted to be an entrepreneur. You're too smart to work for somebody else.
Well, yeah, I didn't even know that it was called an entrepreneur or that there was a category around it, that people would be one per se. It was more like it just happened very naturally, just because I ended up doing a web design company, much like a lot of web entrepreneurs seem to do in their first steps, if you think about it.
Just building stuff.
Yeah, it just seems to be a trend.
Paid,
yeah,
it's crazy. Totally. And when did you start that?
So there's a funny story behind all this, and there's always a reason for things. So when I actually used to play ice hockey, I know, very difficult to believe.
Yeah, you look like you're about 90 pounds wet.
I know. I used to be super buff. Trust me, I was like a really big dude way back then.
Yes, absolutely.
And I actually broke my knee playing ice hockey. Yeah, and this was a lower femur fracture, but I was basically in a wheelchair for about 6 months, and that was when I started my first web design company.
Got it.
Because I had nothing better to do.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So when we get back, I want you to tell me how you wound up at Dig at the age of whatever it was, 18? 19.
Yeah.
And then how you started this company. Raised $15 million from, to be honest, I mean, this is like a list of investors who I would be, impressed if anybody had them. True Ventures, Hummer, Winblad, Venture 51, I mean, Verizon, this is great people. $15.3 million raised, and you raised that money at the age of?
Throughout the last 3 years, so between 19 and 22.
So I want to get into that. Like, what is it like? Forget about making out with girls when you get a 14-year-old making out with 18-year-olds when you get to college, but what's it like to take down $15 million when we get back from this very important sponsor message? Hey, thanks. This has been such a great episode. I'm enjoying it myself, and I have to tell you about something else I've really been enjoying. Squarespace. I've been using Squarespace for years to build my own sites, and they keep releasing great new features for you to build exceptional-looking sites. And for those friends you have, you have family members that open a yoga studio, or they start a consulting firm, or they have a startup and they need to do their startup name, but they don't want to build blog software, of course. You got to make a beautiful corporate site or a beautiful e-commerce site. You're selling some merch, perhaps you're a band selling merch. You know that term. Anyway, Squarespace does this for you, and they have great new features like calendars. This is a beautiful feature, elegant, gorgeous. If you're running a yoga studio or you're in a band, you can make a beautiful calendar. Here's the new launch mobile and wearable site. I kept telling my team I want it to work really well on mobile because, hey, it's a mobile conference. And in this, you see they have that little stacked hamburger on the top left-hand corner there. And when you slide up and down, you notice it's responsive. The menu bar gets a little bit smaller, and this just works beautifully on an iPad or an iPhone. And another feature they added is that they are now doing commerce. So you can buy gorgeous stuff and set up an online store just instantly. It's built into Squarespace now. So you want to go buy store, you want to buy stuff, inventory stuff, sell it. It's all right there. Beautiful stuff. Check out the Truth and Lies website, which is beautiful. And I have to tell you, Squarespace has been just a great partner for us. Beautiful. Look at this. gorgeous. Everything they do is gorgeous, and everything they do works perfectly on mobile. And that's the key today, because the majority of traffic for your website, for all websites, is moving to mobile. The majority of traffic moved outside the U.S. over the last 10 years, and now the majority of traffic is moving to mobile. And let me tell you, mobile consumers, they spend money. Mobile commerce is big, and Squarespace is right there, right in the center of mobile and commerce. No credit card required. It starts at only $8 a month. And if you keep your site, go to Squarespace and just try it for free. But if you do decide to keep it, you can just use the promo code TWIST7, TWIST7, and we'll really appreciate that. It's everything you need to create an exceptional website, 24-hour support, exceptional looking websites. And I, Jason Calacanis, use it myself for many of our sites, and I tell everybody, use it. In fact, for the new Inside.com site, we're using it, and it's going to be at blog.inside.com. I love the product. I love the team in New York. It's a great product, a great team, at a reasonable price. In fact, it's probably worth a lot more money than they're charging. So go ahead and check it out. It's a wonderful product. Let's get back to this great interview. All right, welcome back, everybody. Thanks to our sponsors. With me is Brian Wong, the CEO and founder of Keep, KIIP.me. You can go check them out. So you start this company. What was the mission of this company that you started when you were 19 years old? Why start it? What is it?
Yeah, so the story goes, I was working at Dig. That's kind of what brought me to the San Francisco area in the first place.
How'd you wind up at Dig?
Yes, that's even a funny story. So I had never been to California ever in my life up until I was 18. So I decided to take a trip down in late 2000.
You mean when you graduated college?
Yes, exactly. I had a little bit of a break. I didn't want to jump straight into working because the jobs at the time, and remember in 2008, wasn't that great of an economy. It was terrible, right? So I ended up just, I wanted to visit because I'd never been to Silicon Valley. I was like, what is it like? Is there like silicon chips everywhere? And what is it like? What is it? And I realized that it was Nerdtopia per se, but there's a reason for it. And what I would do, actually, and I still do this even now, whenever I go to a new city where I'm unfamiliar, I just kind of email people out of the blue, right? And a lot of the companies that I emailed, I just wanted to visit, just wanted to learn from. And one of them happened to be Dig. And I emailed Kevin, and I emailed Mike Mazurs, the CSO at the time, and Bob Book, who's the VP of Business Development. Bob punted me over to Matt Van Horn, who now works at Path, is one of my closest mentors, actually now advisor of the company as well. But Matt essentially ended up meeting with me for breakfast. Long story short is, I got an offer from Dig, and it was part of the process of getting me down there was also challenging from a visa perspective. And then I moved down in January of 2010.
Why would they hire an 18-year-old to do business development?
I think Matt saw a little bit of me in him because he went through kind of a process like that too to get his job at Dig. He kind of like was a hustler. He kind of pinged a lot of people. And business development, which is what I ended up in, is a lot about getting in hustling and getting in contact with people.
It's a little bit of projection, right? Like, I want to be as smart as Brian Wong, so therefore I'm going to give him a job.
Exactly.
But you played that.
Well, I think it was just a fantastic opportunity to learn, and Dig was an amazing first step. Right at the time, they were obviously still very popular, and the terrible things that ended up happening didn't happen yet. And in January, I moved down to San Francisco. And I was there for about 5 months. And I remember most of my job was essentially working with news publishers to get the Dig button integrated.
Sure.
So it's just to get them to put this JavaScript code in.
Yeah.
And as a result, actually, through that process, I ended up meeting a lot of press. So through that process, I made quite a bit of a network in the tech community and also in the tech press community. So I was very lucky to just have that chance to expose myself through this opportunity. And basically in May, Dig had a huge hit. Google changed the algorithm and lost about 10% of their staff.
Right.
I was part of that casualty. So now I found myself without a job. First, again, this was my first full-time job, right? 5 months in.
And your visa is tied to the company.
It is.
Oh, wow. So is this the first setback you ever had in your life? I mean, being the genius little man-take kid who cut 4 years from their education. Now you're laid off. That's got to be kind of a bummer for you.
It's a big setback. I mean,
was it your first?
I don't think it was my first. I've experienced bigger failures. I mean, I don't measure setbacks by bigger or smaller, but by nature of the fact that it's a setback.
Was it super bummer?
It was. I mean, I'll tell you, it was in May of 2010. It was around Mother's Day. I went back home to tell my parents what had happened. And as cliche as it could be, it's like it was raining at night. I landed and I took the cab home. They had no idea I was coming. I told my mom what had happened, and she told me it was the worst Mother's Day present that she'd ever gotten.
Oh, great. No pressure.
Yeah, right? And I promised her that the following Mother's Day, days would be better, and I think they have been. In fact, I just saw her this past Mother's Day. I actually surprised my mom every Mother's Day now. I just use it as a tradition. But yeah, so I ended up getting laid off. I found myself without a job. I kind of came back down to the States on a business tourist visa. You can as a Canadian. Luckily, I'm Canadian. There's perks of being Canadian sometimes. Yeah. And I ended up visiting a lot of companies, and I wanted to see if I could get another job, finish kind of what I came down here to start, which was to build a career in BD. So again, like in the beginning, it was about working